49, 38 in a 25 mile per hour zone.
48, 39 and a 25. Bus number 1065.
I think bus drivers just need to be reminded that they have to stay within speed limits.
Carrying children to and from school.
47, that's bus number 553.
Our investigation in November clocked about 20 speeding JCPS school buses on interstates and side streets. But the buses sped on. Viewer captured this video showing 2 JCPS buses going at least 10 miles over the speed limit on I-65 last month. Many others called WDRB and sent messages asking us to run the radar again. So over 3 days.
42, 43, 44, 45.
In the mornings and afternoons,
48.
we check for speeding buses with the same radar police departments use.
48 and a 35, 46 and a 35 here on Newburgh Road.
We only counted buses going at least 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. We went back to Newburgh Road near the Waterston Expressway. In just minutes, we clocked 8 buses speeding.
49 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone.
We caught 5 buses speeding on Cane Run Road.
47, bus number 1108. 49, 48, 49.
Overall, we saw 30 school bus drivers breaking the law. And this time, WDRB uncovered a more surprising place buses are speeding: school zones.
This is Southern Parkway near several local schools. The speed limit is 25 miles per hour during these hours, and it wasn't hard to find speeding buses.
39, bus 518. 41.
We found 12 speeding buses in this school zone on one afternoon.
36 on the first one. 42 on the second one. Bus 1217.
The biggest violator going 24 miles over the 25 mile per hour school zone speed limit.
49 for this bus. 1261.
We went back and ran radar again and found more speeding buses, more than last time. What's your reaction to that?
I'm still concerned. I don't know if they were the same people. If they were, then that's going to be a big problem. But that's obviously something we're going to have to address.
We ran the radar near Mill Creek Elementary School on Dixie Highway.
35.
We clocked 2 school buses speeding near Rangeland Elementary School.
Bus 1188. 36 miles per hour in a school zone.
John Stovall represents a bus drivers union.
I'll be honest with you, if I had someone on my bus, hell, I'd speed too. I'd want to get them off the bus.
He says the district is short 200 bus drivers and students are unruly on board, and both those factors lead to speeding. So what are the repercussions for speeding bus drivers?
Coming from Fort Knox up Dixie Highway, I'm riding next to a bus doing 63 miles an hour. I got pulled over. So I kind of cracked up, and I asked the officer about it, and he didn't want to respond.
Terry Kaiser is a retired police officer. He says there's a reason you don't see officers pulling over buses.
And it's an unspoken rule, don't pull them over, because it stops them from getting their shifts done and getting the kids to school on time.
As this video shows, police did bust a JCPS bus driver for speeding in a school zone in November.
Driving a school bus, going through the school zone, 25 mile an hour zone, you're doing 42.
Saying he admitted to going 42 into 25 on Johnsontown Road. WDRB uncovered the letter the district gave to the bus driver, saying when an employee receives a citation in a school bus, it does not make a favorable impression upon our students, parents, or the general public. It goes on to say future incidents could lead to losing his job.
How will this problem be resolved?
Well, I think the biggest thing is if they get staffing up, then that'll take the pressure off them having to be in a hurry to pick it up.
Something that obviously we're going to have to address, but what I can tell you is we're not telling people speed, just get the kids home as fast as you can. That's not coming from us, and it is never condoned.
Some residents say they want to see more buses cited for speeding to try and slow them down.
48. What's your message for JCPS?
If those were your children on that bus, how fast would they be going?
Veterans across the nation are treated to honor flights. honoring them for their service and sacrifice.
Welcome home. Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
This is the second flight of the year for Honor Flight Bluegrass. More than 60 Kentuckiana veterans from World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam War received a free flight from Louisville to Washington, D.C. Some finally took the trip after being asked 3 times.
I wanted to see it before I died, Washington and everything.
I joined the service in October of 1942.
Paul Kaufman will turn 95 years old next month and served in the Army Air Corps. A day before the honor flight, there was nervousness about what the experience would be like in the nation's capital.
I will probably cry for those that will never see it. That's the price that I paid that allows me the freedom to see it.
I have so many memories of my year in Vietnam, good and bad, and it was probably the most notable year of my life.
The graves are both Vietnam War veterans.
That means that you've actually seen combat. So,
and most military people have the highest respect for the CIB when they see it.
Bob Graves was in the combat infantry, and his wife Marge was an Army nurse.
He is fairly decorated from his tour in Vietnam.
Bob wears this bracelet every day, remembering his roommate who died in combat.
You wonder why it was certain people that were lost, and how you survived, and others that you knew didn't. So I think sometimes there may be a little guilt, the survivor's guilt.
A Chinook helicopter crash on May 10th, 1972 changed Marge's life forever.
There were 34 crispy critter, dismembered bodies that were brought back to us, and I was one of the senior nurses at that point, and I was one of the body identifiers, and it was probably the most horrific situation that I could have ever imagined.
She tried to put those memories behind her and worked a successful career at UPS, and still never talked about the incident for decades.
When I started having some problems with depression, I still wouldn't let any of the medical health people anywhere near that. And in 2005, when I made an attempt to end my life, that was when I decided to open up and realize that I needed help.
Marge now helps other veterans across the state speaking about war trauma. She knows how veterans on this honor flight feel. In the pouring rain, the pitter-patter of water marked the first stop at the World War II Memorial.
I'll try to keep it dry, Papa.
Many of the veterans in wheelchairs sat in front of the Washington Monument.
It's cold, it's wet, but it's an expression of courage, sacrifice, and victory.
Looking in awe of a memorial to honor them.
I'm sad because we get to see it, and those that paid the ultimate price will never know it.
19 stainless steel statues remember those who fought and died during the Korean War. And at the Vietnam War Memorial,
when you think about the 32 names of the helicopter crash soldiers, I mean, I've got to take up a pretty good chunk on the wall.
Marge and other veterans look at each name and remember the lives lost. The long day ended at Arlington National Cemetery as Honor Flight Bluegrass laid a wreath for those who never made it back home.
I think about them quite often, and they're in the Philippines and France, over in Europe, around. They're in places like this.
In the calm of waiting for flights back to Louisville, it was mail call.
Ralph Dickens.
Where family, friends, and school children wrote cards of thanks to the men and women for their sacrifice. A small gesture to honor true American heroes.
When you look back at just your whole experience at Vietnam, how would you characterize it?
Life-changing, but I would do it all over again.
On a day celebrating the nation's freedom, the veterans want people to remember just what it took.
Words cannot express the sincerity of my feelings for the Americans that gave their life that I might be free and the rest of my family be free.